Yes, guys, and welcome back to a Only One Hotspur podcast. It is me and Joe in the chairs today, and we will be previewing our game against AFC Bournemouth, and not Burnley, as Joe tried to let everybody know the other day. Before we start, make sure you click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell as well, so you get to know when we post. Would really appreciate it, guys, and hopefully we can hit 100 subscribers before the end of the season. Joe, we are in the blue kit tonight, the light blue kit, against Bournemouth, which, I mean, it's probably one of the nicest kits that we've ever had, but results-wise, it hasn't gone for us at all this season. So, you know, massive game against Bournemouth. You know, they need the points to try and stay in the Premier League. We need the points for a European push. But how do you see this one panning out tonight?
Yeah, well, first off, on the blue kit, as soon as I woke up and I saw it's match day and I saw the blue kit thing, I was like, oh goodness gracious. I was like, I'm gonna have to have a few drinks at the ready, I think. Obviously, it is an absolute gorgeous kit. It's probably one of my favourite kits like we've had in my lifetime, to be honest. It's got that retro look and everything, but the past few performances in it haven't exactly been the best. Let's put it that way. But yeah, actually, with the game, I think it'll be an interesting game because of the lineup choices. I think. Obviously, Bournemouth will have to go full strength no matter what, because every game for them is a 6-pointer, really. You know, they need to be winning games, and they have looked absolutely shocking. You know, we've had quite a few chats about it. Like, they have looked awful. So, you know, I think if we go at them early in the game, especially, like Newcastle did, when they played them. You know, Newcastle scored a goal against them within, I think, especially within the first 10 minutes. You know, Bournemouth made a mistake at the back, they capitalised, then Bournemouth heads are down straight away. So I think that's something what we're going to have to do, be right on them, press, make them make mistakes, because they will. You know, because they're looking for a bit of confidence and they're not getting that at the minute. And I think if they concede within the first 10 minutes, the game's already won. If you score against Bournemouth within, you know, early on in the game, you've won the game. They don't look threatening at all going forward as well. You know, I've had a few discussions actually with a few people about Bournemouth because, you know, I used to love the way they played, you know, and I always had great credit, you know, I always gave great credit to Eddie Howe and everything. But I personally think one of their big downfalls is that they've just been found out. People know how to play against Bournemouth now. You know, because they don't really change the way they play. You know, say, you know, one day they're playing Norwich, next game they're playing City. They will not change how they play. So it's easy, I guess, to set up against them because you know what their weaknesses are going to be. You know what their strengths are going to be. So you know what I mean? And I think the players, some of them, you know, I think their defence, apart from Nathan Ake, is very suspect at the minute, especially. You know, you've got Adam Smith, isn't it Rico or Charlie Daniels who plays left back, and either Simon Francis or Steve Cook. And I think, you know, and then obviously you've got Nathan Ake, but he can't do it all on his own. You know, and if you look at that defence, you know, there's goals to score against it. Obviously, Aaron Ramsdale, I don't mind him as a keeper, but he's not exactly exceptional. You know, I think he's just an average keeper. So I'm expecting goals tonight from us. To be honest, I'm expecting us to go at them, actually run at their defenders as well. Something what I've been crying out for, you know, especially the wingers running at their fullbacks, because their fullbacks, you know, I think are very beatable. But yeah, I'm expecting a Tottenham win tonight, nothing less than a Tottenham win. or else I'm going to be very disappointed, to be honest, because Bournemouth are really there for a beating. And as I said, I can't see them offering much going forward. You know, I'm not sure if Callum Wilson's even fit because he hasn't been. I know one game he was suspended, but I'm not sure whether it is a 2-match suspension. So he might well be back tonight. If it was a 2-match suspension, then I think the suspension's over. But they're not getting the, the strikers aren't getting the service. You know, Josh King, Callum Wilson, whoever's up top, doesn't get the service. And if it's Dominic Solanke up top, I don't think we actually need a defence because he couldn't hit a barn door, could he? I can't actually remember Dominic Solanke ever scoring a goal, which is always good for a striker. But obviously, he probably has. I hope. Or else, biggest forward going probably. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. To be fair, what about you?
I agree with you in the fact that we have to really go at Bournemouth. I think they are there for the taking here. As you said, we've spoken on a few occasions about Bournemouth, and to me, they look the side that's down already. They don't know how to react when going a goal down. It's almost as if when that first one does go in, heads are down, they can't rally together and try and G themselves up to just keep going and keep playing. So I think that first goal tonight is going to be very, very crucial in the game. I was having this discussion with my dad about Bournemouth, and you mentioned there that they've been found out, which potentially they have. But I think Eddie Howe, as recruitment wise, if he's got a player out of the Championship, by and large, they've done really well for Bournemouth. He seems to have got the best out of them. But in terms of having those established Premier League players, or players, younger players that have come from higher up the league, hasn't really worked out really for Eddie Howe. If you look at Jordan Ibe, was firing in the Liverpool youth teams. I think was tipped at one point to be better than Raheem Sterling. He's gone to Bournemouth and hasn't done anything. Out of contract. And Bournemouth,
he's not even there anymore, is he?
Yeah, Bournemouth weren't exactly keen to extend that contract either. If I look at Solanke being a prime example as well, coming from Liverpool, hasn't scored, I don't think. If he has, he's got one since going there, 20-odd million. Defoe, I think he fell out with Defoe, and then Defoe's subsequently gone up over the border. Had a falling out with Begovic. He's then been shipped out on loan to AC Milan. I think he had a falling out with Artur Boric as well. And those three were very senior players at Bournemouth, not just because of the age that they were, but I think in the dressing room, character-wise, they would have brought a lot to that Bournemouth dressing room. And to be falling out with senior players and experienced players isn't always a good sign, in my opinion.
I think especially Begovic, I think was probably the biggest loss, probably out of them. Because I think Begovic comes across as a leader, and obviously he was at Chelsea for a bit as well, weren't he? And
yeah.
Obviously, I'm pretty sure he was at Chelsea when they won a few trophies.
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah.
Obviously, at a club like that, obviously you're losing that winning mentality, and at the minute, that is what they need desperately. So I think
as well, Joe, they need goals, and you fall out with Jermaine Defoe, who's then gone up, like I say, over the border. He's probably looking at the situation at the time, Defoe, and going, "Look, Gaffer, we need goals here. Like, I'm here, I'm fit, I'm available. Give us a chance." And and then Eddie Howe might have just turned around and said to him, "No, look, this is how we're going to go," and things like that. So, but I think, Defoe, given, as we know, being Spurs fans, if you give him half a chance, he's going to at least hit the target. And Defoe as a player was one I used to love watching. And even if I do anything kind of shooting wise, I always reference him because I think he's probably one of the most natural finishers and goal scorers that I've come across in my time watching football. But yeah, we definitely need the points. But I know Bournemouth are there; they're scrapping, they're fighting. But you know, having watched them, especially against Palace, my goodness, they looked dead and buried then, and that was one of their first games, I believe, of the restart. So yeah, they looked gone then. I even think like Norwich give a little bit more than Bournemouth at the minute, and I know Norwich are a little bit further away points wise in the league table, but you know, at least Norwich are still trying to keep spirits high and everything like that. Like Bournemouth, it looks like when they're playing, it looks like exactly where they are. Whereas, like I say, with Norwich, the way that they play, you'd think they were, you know, in the top half of the table. But Bournemouth look like a team that are struggling and that are fighting against relegation. And you know, for me, I can see them going down. To be honest, just you know, from the way they've been at the restart, can't buy a win, can barely buy a goal. So, but you know what that means. We're in the blue kit as well, so 1-0 Bournemouth it is, I reckon. So, Joe, then moving on to our predicted lineups. We're going to chuck those in straight away. We'll start with Bournemouth, seeing as they are the home team for tonight's fixture. How do you see them lining up tonight?
Yeah, I think it will obviously be Ramsdale in goal. He's their number one now, really, isn't he? Which I'm a bit surprised that Mark Travers, is that, you know, the Irish keeper. I'm surprised he hasn't really got a bit more of a run in.
He had a worldy game against us for his debut last season, I think it was.
Yeah, exactly. Like he actually looks a very good goalkeeper, that Mark Travers. Obviously, as I said, I don't mind Ramsdale, but I don't think I just think he's average. You know, he is sort of a goalkeeper who could play at the bottom of the league, maybe top half championship. You know, he's not going to ever be a goalkeeper to, you know, play in Europe, I don't think, or anything like that. You know, I'm not trying to be harsh to him. He just doesn't set the world alight, I don't think. But then you've got, obviously, I think Adam Smith right back. Then Nathan Ake. Who's been playing centre half recently? Normally either Simon Francis or Steve Cook, isn't it?
Usually, yeah.
But they both look very similar to me as well. They're just big units. So let's put Steve Cook in. Then I think that Daniel Rico, left back. I believe that's his first name. I know it's Rico, it's just ended.
Yeah, he's got a brother called Diego Rico who actually plays for Bournemouth. But yeah.
That's awkward. Okay. Diego Rico. I've heard Daniel's got a bit of a hamstring problem. I think I'm not even going to try and pronounce this guy's name. You know that Dutch winger who they've got?
Yeah, is it Danjuma?
There we go. Danjuma. I think he will play. I think Lewis Cook, Jefferson Lerma, and maybe Philip Billing. So I think Lewis Cook has sort of been pushed out wide a little bit recently. I think. Well, not, you know. I think they want to be quite strong in that middle. You know, and I think they could maybe even change that into like a 4-3-1-2, and obviously play Danjuma in like a bit more of an attacking role. I've got a feeling Callum Wilson will be back tonight. I think so. I'm going to go Callum Wilson and Josh King. Obviously, if Callum Wilson is injured, but I believe it was suspension, it will obviously be Solanke, who should be playing in like League Two. So yeah, that's my predicted Bournemouth lineup.
Mine, I guess, again, Ramsdale in goal. I'm of the opposite opinion of him. He doesn't fill me with any confidence at all. I don't think he's much cop. I think, he come off the back of a season in League One last season at AFC Wimbledon, and now all of a sudden he's playing in the Premier League as Bournemouth's #1 goalkeeper. I mean, fair play to him, but
Not exactly going to complain, is he?
no. But I think at the same time, you're looking at, if you're a defender and you've gone from, like we said, Asmir Begovic, who's won the Premier League and played for Chelsea and played in Europe, everything like that, and then you go from a pretty untried, untested goalkeeper who's just come out of League One. It's not going to fill you with the greatest of confidence as a back line. I know people might go, well, Spurs got Dele Alli out of League One, but I think that's slightly different because they're playing two different positions, and I think there's a lot more that will happen in between, say, Dele losing the ball, and obviously if Ramsdale drops a clanger, chances are it's going to go in, and then and stuff like that. So yeah, Ramsdale will probably start in goal, as you said. He's Bournemouth's #1 at the minute. Back four, yeah, Adam Smith. Although I was impressed with Jack Stacey when he played at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and I do quite like him. But yeah, I think Adam Smith will probably get the nod ahead of him. Cook, Ake, and Diego Rico, not his brother Daniel. Yeah, I just think that's the way that Bournemouth will probably go. I think Charlie Daniels has got a slight injury. That's probably who you were thinking of beforehand.
That's what I said. I'm sure I just said Daniels. Like, yeah. Because he was at Tottenham as well, weren't he, at that point?
Yeah.
Daniels.
Yeah, Charlie Daniels.
I know him.
So yeah, that'll probably be the back four. I think Bournemouth will probably. I've got a feeling they might switch it up slightly. I think they might. Although I've got two ideas sort of from the forwards end of the pitch. They might go with a 4-3-3, and that might be a Lerma, Billing, Cook trio. But then I think the way Bournemouth have played a lot of the time since coming into the Premier League has been like a 4-4-1-1. So it wouldn't surprise me if they went that way as well. So if it's 4-3-3, like I say, Lerma, Billing, Cook, Danjuma and Harry Wilson on the wings, and Callum Wilson up top. I don't think Josh King's actually available. I do believe he went off with an injury in one of the games that Bournemouth have played. It might have been the Palace game, so I'm not 100% sure.
I'm pretty sure he's. I think he played in the last couple of games. Yeah.
If he's back, then if Josh King is back, then I'll anticipate him to start off of Callum Wilson in that 4-4-1-1, and then probably I would suggest that Billing might drop out, and as you say, it might be Lerma and Cook in the midfield there. So yeah, that's how I see Bournemouth lining up. Like I say, there's two ways I can really see them lining up, and I can't really decide between the two, unfortunately. So Joe, moving on to the mighty Spurs. Obviously, our second game this week. We've got Derby Day on Sunday, which may or may not be in Jose's line of thinking as well. But how do you see us setting up for this one?
That's the thing. I think it's so hard to predict, to be honest, because I think part of me wouldn't be surprised if Jose pretty much named an unchanged thing, just because it's Jose. But I am expecting a couple of changes at least, to be honest. Obviously, Dyer has got this suspension, so obviously he's going to drop out no matter what, which, by the way, is a joke. When Boozy can grab someone round the neck and go without any single punishment from the FA, Dyer protects his brother, doesn't, gets a 4-match ban. I was always expecting him to get a ban of some sort, because obviously, to be fair to the FA, they can't be seen to let that go and let that be seen as acceptable. But I was expecting maybe like a 2-match ban or, something like that. That I thought 4, you don't often see more than 3 unless if it is something like crazy. And I thought, I thought that was a little bit harsh. And then a 40k fine as well. And obviously I sent you that thing yesterday of, clubs have been fined less for racism. And Dyer's gone in to protect his brother. And he's been slapped a 4-game ban. And that, I'm like, I weren't too happy with that, to be honest, I have to admit. And I think that's going to be a big loss because I think Dyer had cemented his place in that back four. Obviously, I think since the restart, he has been one of our better players, except from the Sheffield United game, But as we said, no one played well that game. So I think that's something what, will be interesting to see for these last few games. Because obviously he's only eligible now for the Palace game, last game of the season, But yeah, my team lineup, obviously Hugo in goal. Right back will probably be Serge Aurier, just because I cannot see, because I think we will still play a 4-2-3-1, and obviously he's spoken about, Gedson or Skip playing like right back or something, but I can't see Skip playing right back. I don't think that would suit him at all. Because I think Gedson would be a good right wing back, not an actual right back, if that makes sense. I think he would be a bit more attacking. And as I said, I think we'll stick with a 4-2-3-1. I think it will be Toby and Sanchez as a centre halves. And I'm going to be bold here, and I'm going to say Dennis Churkin's going to start tonight. Ooh. Just because I think, obviously, Jose's come out in his press conference and said about, he's told Daniel Levy he wants Dennis Churkin and Harvey White to be with him next season, which I absolutely love, by the way, because I haven't seen Dennis Churkin actually play, but I've seen Harvey White play a couple of times, and Harvey White, by the way, absolute baller. At the test event for under-18s, Harvey White, best player on the pitch. Unreal. I went to watch the when we played Man City at the stadium as well. The youngsters, great. He's honestly, Harvey White is a great player, and I'm really excited by him. But I think Dennis Churkin will play. I think him being on the bench the other night, I think was a bit of an indicator. And plus Davis, I think you've got to be careful with him. He's had a few injuries before, obviously not long had one, and I think he could get away with playing Churkin tonight. I think against a team who doesn't have much confidence, not looking that much of a threat going forward. Obviously there is pressure on him if he does play. It's his Premier League debut for Tottenham, but I don't think it's a bad game to put him in for. And I would love it. If I saw him starting, I'd be absolutely buzzing because I love seeing young players play. Like when Tanganga was starting, I was like, go on. But yeah, so moving on, I think the two, I think it's going to be Winks again. And I am going to go Ndombele because I just think Sissoko, I'm not even just saying this, I think Sissoko does need a rest. Like, Sissoko is going to play against Arsenal. I think we can be a bit more, freer against Bournemouth because we should be on the front foot. I think it will end up being, obviously, I think Winks will end up being a bit more deeper and Ndombele maybe going a bit more forward out of 2. But yeah, I'm hoping that's the 2. I'm going to go for Lamela as like the number sort of 10, in the middle. I'm going to go Bergwijn on the right. And I would like to see Sessegnon play. But I think he will probably end up starting Son, to be honest. But I would like it to be Sess. And then obviously Kane up top. And I think that is my lineup, to be fair. What are your thoughts on that? I'm interested to find out.
Interesting that. Yeah, I think I can see Jose making a few changes. given the nature of our week, thanks to the lovely people at Sky for that, packing us in 3 games in a week. Yeah, I mean, I'll be intrigued if Churchin does start. Lots been spoken about him and everything else. Don't even know what type of fullback he is. Is he more a fullback that can get forward, or is he more of a stay-at-home fullback? So it'll be interesting to see. But I think the way we have set up is like we have one fullback that attacks, and then the other one pretty much stays at home a lot.
Yeah, like it turns into a back 3, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see if Churchin does get a look in, and then if he does, how he gets on, and stuff like that. Yeah. So my team is Hugo in goal. Hopefully we don't have a repeat of an argument with one of the sharpest shooters in the world in Heung-Min Son. But as we said in our review, we didn't mind that. Actually, it showed a little bit of something that we've probably missed. Aurier at right back. Just because we haven't really got anyone else, to be honest. I'd rather put somebody there that has an idea of how to play them. I'm not saying, a rough idea, than try and shoehorn a Jedson or a Skip.
Yeah.
I think it'll be Alderweireld and Sanchez at centre half. I think Vertonghen will play left back. Just so, if Aurier does go, we can keep that back 3. And try and be defensively solid there. I'd love to see Winks and Ndombele. I can't see it happening though. I think Sissoko will probably play just because he runs around a lot, and we will probably need that because Bournemouth have got a point to prove. People have been writing them off, myself included. So I think they've got a bit of a point to prove with them, and I think they might want to try and make the game a bit scrappy. So we would probably need Sissoko's energy and his drive in that midfield. So yeah, I probably would say Winks and Sissoko. I'd probably say Lucas Moura to start on the right. Jose seems to be a massive fan of him, and is usually looking to count on him a lot of the time. I think Lo Celso will play as the 10 and not Lamela. I think Lamela will probably come on though in the game. And then Sonny out on the left. Sessegnon's not getting a look in. There's talk of him going out on loan next season. I'd love to see Sess get a look in and play some games, but I can't really see it because of the need that we're in at the minute just to get points. And then Harry Kane up top.
You haven't not gone for many changes in there at all. Obviously, the Dyer one, which is in force, and then what do you call it? Then Jan at left back. Apart from that, that's pretty much changed, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Although Jose might see it as an opportunity to change and rest some players, given Derby Day is on Sunday. But I don't think Jose works. He just goes, right, next game, we need 3 points. This is going to be the team to get these 3 points.
I agree with that. I think, but with yours, I think Bergwijn will come in for certain. I think that's the one what I'm pretty confident on. Obviously, Gio could well start, as you said, but yeah. Karen, sorry.
That's all right. So Joe, obviously, we've named our 2 lineups for both sides. Who do you see being key players for both teams? We'll start with Bournemouth again because they are the home side.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for Lerma because I think when Lerma is on good form, he can be very, very good. Obviously, he's a very strong player, and they're going to need him to have a good game tonight. Him and Philip Billing, obviously, very big and strong midfielders, and they are really going to need them tonight. Hard tacklers as well. As you said the other day about Lamella getting a booking, anyone who's over 18 put odds on Lerma getting booked as well tonight. I think. I think you might not get much money in return, but might make yourself a quid or two. But yeah, I think them two are going to be massive. I think obviously, whoever plays out of them, it might be just one of them. Because I think Lewis Cook will play no matter what. Because in some ways he's a bit like their Harry Winks, if that makes sense. I think he's the sort of one who tries to knit together, and he's going to be very important for them as well. Because I think he's going to be the one to maybe get them going, try and get them on the front foot, try and run their tempo of the game. If he's not having a good game, or if someone's on him, Bournemouth are really going to struggle. So I think that'll be interesting. Nathan Ake is the only defender who I think can still play in the Premier League next season. I don't think there'll be anyone coming in for anyone else in their back line. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't think any of them really set the world alight. I think that's fair to say. I think Nathan Ake is going to have a big game up against Harry Kane. But then obviously their other defenders are going to have to step up. Because if Harry Kane then he could then become a sort of a target man because he knows Nathan Ake is going to be on him. He could then try and play off to, I don't know, whoever's playing, whether it's Lucas Bergwijn, Son, Gio, Lamella, whoever it is, he can maybe try and play off and then get him behind. I think that could maybe be a way to get at Bournemouth. Obviously, maybe not the most attractive, but I think that'll be effective against them. And as I've said a few times in this so far, Bournemouth don't look a threat going forward at all. I really like Callum Wilson as a striker. I think it's a service into him at the minute. He's not really getting that many chances, and because he's not getting many chances in games, it's taken him a little bit to get firing again. But I do like Callum Wilson, I have to admit. It's unlucky that he's had them injuries in his career in the Premier League as well. But it's never nice to see in English, any player really, get them injuries. I think Josh King. I was actually speaking, as I said, about Bournemouth to a few people, and someone I think put Josh King quite well. They went, he can be absolutely fantastic one game and do nothing for the next couple. He's very hit and miss. We've got a few players like that ourselves, but I think every team does, and I think that is Bournemouth's one. He can be fantastic one game where you're thinking, oh God, how's he playing for Bournemouth? Next few games, was Josh King playing today or not? If you know what I mean. So I think that. But yeah, I can't see Bournemouth having too many key players. I think, as I said, that midfield, that big, strong one in midfield to try and break up the play, give it to Lewis Cook to do the tempo, Nathan Ake. Apart from that, I can't see them offering too many threats. I have to admit, to be honest with you. Yeah, but who do you think is going to be big for them tonight?
I'm going to go
watch out for
with you. I'm going to go with like the spine of Bournemouth's team. So I think, as you said, Nathan Ake is going to be key for them. On the ball, really, really good. Can bring it out from the back. Can start and build attacks from there. So I think that's going to be key to Bournemouth because they do like to keep the ball a lot of the time. And then defensively, he's going to be key. He's going to have a bit of a game on his hands, we hope anyway. Which means if he does, then that Kane is having a good game. I think moving into midfield, I think you were spot on between Cook and Lerma. So yeah, I think Cook does like to get on the ball, make things happen, get Bournemouth playing in midfield. Lerma's the one that looks to win the ball back and then distributes to those who can play. I'm not saying that as a disservice to Lerma, because actually on the ball he's quite good, but he would prefer, well, his role is in the team is to win the ball back and then give it to those others. A big physical presence in there as well, which makes me think that Sissoko is going to start in order to try and match that up a little bit. I think Josh King is going to be key for Bournemouth. He is a very strange one for me, Josh King, because I think if he doesn't play for Bournemouth, they then struggle to get through the thirds of the pitch. I actually think he's slightly underrated as well, in terms of the work that he actually does for the Bournemouth team. I think he does a lot of unselfish running off the ball, and I think sometimes that will drag defensive players into different areas, and then all of a sudden there's space for, this season, if it's a Harry Wilson, or last season David Brooks or Callum Wilson up top, those kind of things. And I actually quite like Josh King. Like I say, he's not the most fashionable of player in terms of, you wouldn't go, if you need somebody for that position, you wouldn't necessarily go, right, let's go and spend X amount on Josh King. But actually, I think what he does and what he brings to Bournemouth is very, very effective. And I think that's why I quite like him, because he goes really under the radar and really unnoticed, but what he does is actually quite effective for the team. And I think usually as well, if Josh King has a good game, Bournemouth play well. Yeah, and they play well. And then obviously the main man up top, Callum Wilson, has a good track record of scoring goals and stuff like that. Obviously, as you mentioned there, Joe, been unlucky and unfortunate with injuries over the last sort of couple of seasons. But, I do quite like Callum Wilson. I think he's a bit of an all-round kind of centre-forward, a little bit similar to Kane in that respect. Obviously, not trying to, do a direct comparison to the both of them, but they are fairly similar in terms of the attributes that they both possess. But I think it's then got to be down to Cook, Lerma. If it's Harry Wilson or David Brooks that plays out wide, Danjuma, they've got to get the ball into him, and they've got to give him the service. But then I think Callum Wilson is one you do need to give him a couple of chances. It seems, for him to get a sight.
Firing, yeah.
Yeah, he needs a
especially at the minute.
Yeah, a couple of chances, and then after that third or fourth one, he might get it. But then the way Bournemouth are at the minute, any chance that comes their way, they've got to pretty much take it. So that's who I see being key for Bournemouth. Who's going to win this game for us, Joe, if we're to get the 3 points, in your opinion?
I think, as I said, I'm really, really hoping Ndombele gets that start today. I think it is a chance for him, because I think we do have that opportunity to be a bit freer tonight. With the way Bournemouth have no confidence in that, and I think he would be a very, very key player for us. Whether or not, even if, to be fair, I've just been thinking, if he does start Sissoko, I know that's dangerous. If he does start Sissoko and Winks, obviously Gio has had a couple of injuries, hasn't he? And obviously massive game against Arsenal on Sunday. Why not maybe even try Ndombele in a bit more of an attacking role? In that sort of almost number 10. Then that way you've got Winks and Sissoko covering sort of thing. Because I think Ndombele, even against Sheffield United when he came on, as you said, that little pass into Kane, I know it was offside, but he's got the vision and to unlock defences, and I think Bournemouth are going to try and sit up in that their defence is going to try and be quite sound and solid. Obviously, it hasn't been, but if we've got Ndombele in there, go on, quick play, vision playing through, and I think that could be big for us. For us tonight, if he does play, that is. I think Winks again. Both of us are massive fans of him. He sets a tempo for us. He goes so unnoticed for us, but he sets the tempo of how we're going to play the game. Sets the tempo of when you say if we're winning. Okay, this is maybe a time to slow it down. Maybe have a bit of a breather. Now let's go. I think he's going to be very important tonight to set that tempo for us. I personally think this is a massive game for Sanchez as well. Whether or not he has much to do, but I think the game what he had against Sheffield United wasn't good at all. I think you can maybe point a couple more fingers at him than Dyer that day. Obviously, neither of them had a good game. I'm not saying that, but especially for that one that McBurney scored, that is just basic defending. So hopefully he comes back and shows, what he can do, because he can be a fantastic defender. But at times he looks very suspect as well. You never know what you're going to get. And I think, obviously, as I was saying earlier, their fullbacks look like you can get at them. So whoever plays out wide, I think obviously most likely going to be Son, to be fair, isn't it, out on the left. I think the harder one is to predict who it's going to be between Bergwijn and Lucas. But all three of them can run at plays. I want to see that tonight. I want to see them running at players who have no confidence at the moment. Because, they've got no confidence. If you skin them within the first few minutes, they're going to be on the back foot. They will pick up a yellow card. So I think that's one to watch. Out wide. And obviously, I think Kane could have a field day today, potentially. He really could. On the defence, what does look very suspect at the minute, lacking confidence. If we can get out wide, getting the ball in the middle, if we can, anywhere, I think Kane could get a couple of goals today. I'm looking forward to it, to be fair, which I'm not sure if is a good sign or not, because obviously for the Everton game, I was a bit like, oh god, yeah, here we go. Obviously, which I think was fair enough after the game that we had against Sheffield United, but against a team with no confidence, I'm expecting our team to really go at them. And if we play in the same style as what we have the past few games, I think that's when fans are really going to be like, well, hold up a minute. This is shocking, because this is a team who's right down there, no confidence. You should be going at them and we should be getting quite a few goals today. Let alone just one. We should be getting a few. But yeah, who do you think is going to be key?
For us, I think, take your point on Sanchez. I actually think it's a big game for him. A lot of question marks have been thrown over him over the last sort of year or so, which I find a little bit strange, and I guess I perhaps haven't noticed what other people have noticed. Because for me, Sanchez has always looked relatively okay, at the very least. But I think he does perhaps need to work on his distribution out from the back a little bit better. But I mean, in terms of him as a player, I do still like him. I think we've got a really, really good centre-half there. He could probably do with filling out a little bit more, because he is still quite slight in his frame. But, by and large, I don't think he really gets out-muscled that much, considering his size, in terms of his frame. But, yeah, I just think, as you said there, the goal against Sheffield United, McBurney's one, was just awful defending. But then everybody had a bad day at the office that day. But yeah, I think, Sanchez and probably Alderweireld, as we've said, that will probably start. I think it's going to be key. Toby's got to marshal that back line. He's the more experienced player there. in that centre-half pairing. So, I think Toby has to kind of step up, be that leader in that back line for us. I think Winks will be key. Keeps the ball, keeps us ticking over, keeps it simple, and gets a lot of stick for it, bless him. But I think Winks will be key. I think a lot of Winks' stuff goes unnoticed and is underappreciated. Like even his stuff off the ball in terms of, his running, him winning the ball back for us. I mean, Winks isn't exactly the biggest, yet he doesn't shy out of any 50-50 or any tackle, which I think is great.
Gary Neville likes that.
Yeah. And then I think going forward, I think Lucas is going to be key, especially up against Diego Rico, because I think he's very suspect. And that's an opportunity for us to perhaps exploit that side, and for us to maybe try and get some joy down that side. The only thing is we haven't got anyone that can cross a ball, so that might be quite difficult. But I think those guys will be key. Again, as you said, Sonny on the left. I want to see him be a bit more direct and going at players. I think a lot of the time since the restart, he's got the ball, doesn't know what to do with it, and then just pops it off simple. And it's like, well, go at them, Sonny. You've got them like on their heels. Go at them and be a bit more direct, which I think will help us as well. I don't think you can look past Harry Kane as well. He's going to be key. He's got to bring the others into play, which I think he does so well. But I think he's got to do it. I want to see more of it from Kane. Him dropping. I don't even mind him dropping deep and spraying 40-yard passes, because Harry Kane, as well as being our best striker, is probably our best passer of the ball as well. I think Kane will be key. Like I say, Winks, Sanchez and Lucas Moura as well, I think, will be key. And not forgetting Sonny too. Joe, we're going to go on to our score predictions. What are you going for tonight?
I think it's a hard one. I think it does depend on how we go at them. I think if we go at them early on in the game, this might sound bold, but I could well see us winning like 4-0 if we go at them early doors. But if we don't, and we try and we don't put them under much pressure to start off with, I could see it being like a 1-0 or 2-0. I think we'll win no matter what, but I think there's a good chance of getting quite a few goals. And I think if we go in and get the job done early, then that's when you can maybe potentially rest a couple of players for Sunday. And to be fair, I think that might be in Jose's line of thinking, maybe like, look, let's go out there, try and get the job done as early as possible. Bournemouth with no confidence. They look very suspect. There's opportunities there tonight. So obviously I'll go for the 4-0, nice and bold. But so goal scorers, I think Harry Kane will get 2. I think Lamela will come off the bench and bag. I think 4. I reckon Sonny. Or if Dennis Churkin starts, he'll get a Premier League debut goal. Imagine that. Obviously, I doubt that, but no, I reckon Kane double, Lamela, and Son. But then I also want to quickly say, if we do go like 2-0 really comfortable, or 3-0 really comfortable, that's when I can maybe see players like maybe Skip getting a few minutes off the bench, Gedson getting a couple of minutes off the bench, which I personally would absolutely love. Maybe giving players like Winks, Sissoko does need a rest, because I think maybe bring him off after a while, and I think that could be key for us. You're probably going to go and say 1-0 or something and make me look absolutely stupid.
Not quite 1, but you were close. I'm going 2-0. Kane to get both. I think, I mean, I hope that we put in a bit more of a show than what we did Monday night, but there is a part of me that thinks, well, I can't particularly see that either. So I think it's going to be a bit of a boring 2-0 win, where we'll be 1-0 and it'll be 1-0 for ages, and then we might nick a late one. And Harry Kane to get both of them for me. He does quite like a goal against Bournemouth as well. So hopefully that again will go in our favour. But I like your point as well about potentially bringing on some of the younger players that we've got in the squad if we are looking a bit comfortable. Or we might even race into like a 2-0 lead and then just see it out. Something that Jose's done a lot in his managerial career. Really. So it wouldn't shock me if I saw that happen again. Right, guys, that is it for us for this preview. We hope you enjoyed it. Let us know in the comment section your thoughts on team selection and score predictions. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify as well, and we are also on all social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So give us a follow on there as well, at Only One Hotspur for those. And as always, up the Spurs.
Up the Spurs.